As you just saw, President Trump wrapping up a speech to steelworkers in Illinois just moments ago. He's also visited farmers in Iowa. That was earlier today.
We had this hat made up. Look at that. It's the John Deere colors, actually. But make our farmers great again. Isn't that great? Make our... Basically, we opened up Europe. And that's going to be a great thing for Europe. And it's really going to be a great thing for us. And it's going to be a really great thing for our farmers. After years of shutdowns and cutbacks, today the blast furnace here in Granite City is blazing bright. Workers are back on the job. And we are once again pouring new American steel into the spine of our country.
Now, some people are saying one of the biggest problems for Democrats in 2018 this year and 2020, the presidential election year, is the party's inability to develop a cohesive message to counter President Trump. In fact, an op-ed in the New York Times today foreshadows Trump winning re-election in 2020 due to the strong economy. Senator Elizabeth Warren, who is rumored to be a future possible opponent of the president's, offered a much different approach than Trump. Here she is calling for higher taxes.
There was a time in a very prosperous America, an America that was growing a middle class, an America in which working families were doing better generation after generation after generation, where the top marginal rate was well above 50%.
So, Jesse, I think the president and Republicans want to talk about the economy, about the stock market doing well. They've had some trouble delivering the message on the benefits of the tax cut. But we see the president getting out there, and this may be the message he wants to deliver going into the midterms.
First of all, I want that green hat. That looks pretty good. And,
wait. It would cover up our wonderful haircut.
Yeah, you did just get your haircut, Jesse.
That's true. You know what? I don't.
What a waste of money if you do that.
I agree. I think Trump needs to focus like a laser on the economy and law and order and judges and keep hammering Democrats as socialist freaks who kneel during the national anthem. There are great headlines coming out of the economy. We're supposed to get an enormous GDP number tomorrow, maybe 3%, 4%, 5%. We've had 3 straight quarters of 3% GDP economic growth, and the low unemployment's fantastic for everyone. And the tax cut has delivered a $2,600 cut to every family in this country. But there are areas of concern. The wages dipped a little bit the last quarter. They're still up 2.8%, where under Obama they were flat. And the trade deal is tough because, you see some places like we were talking about, you have steel companies closing and then you have aluminum companies opening up. And what he did with the EU was actually very smart. I think what he did is he's saying for short-term pain, we want long-term gain. So he raised some tariffs and they came back begging yesterday. And they have a verbal deal and they're going to now drop the tariffs on non-industrial goods. They're going to drop the tariffs on liquefied natural gas. We still have the auto tariffs in play, which isn't good for Michigan and South Carolina. But all in all, the farm subsidies, I think, are good politics but bad economics. But it's just showing the trade partners, listen, we're going to soften the blow because you're not going to inflict any pain on us. And in order to eventually bring down all trade barriers, and that's the goal, free and open and fair trade.
Okay, so Dana, Jesse makes the case, I think, from the Trump perspective that you want your partners, I think the president said his favorite word is reciprocal. Reciprocal.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. In the papers today, it said My Little Pony, Jack Daniels, Coca-Cola, GM, the farmers, and Whirlpool all say, you know what, this is hurting us, hurting our profits.
It is, and I think that's one of the reasons you saw the president, one, be conciliatory towards the EU yesterday. It's just good for our allies for us to work together. They didn't actually agree to anything yesterday. They just agreed to stop fighting in public and to deal with the issues, and that's great because we need to fight as allies against countries like China. I think that the president is smart to get out of town. In the early years of the Bush administration, that first term, the economy was great. You could not get a lot of media coverage around it. Obviously, we were at war as well. The great thing for the president, if he wants good headlines, is he has to go to these places and watch where the president goes. He's going to places where he can help vulnerable Republican members. He went to Iowa today and Illinois. There's 2 members there, Republicans, that are in very bad shape, and he wanted to go and help shore them up. He'll probably return to those places. The other thing I would say is getting that Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Michigan, all of his numbers there are really bad. And so where these tariff issues should help should be there. They're not helping so much, so he's got to figure out how to turn that around. And by being conciliatory towards the EU, he might be able to do that.
Greg, how did you get back from Granite City so quickly?
Well, you know, I have a private plane.
Oh, I see.
And a tunnel.
Must be nice.
And a tunnel.
A tunnel.
You know, it's like looking at Liz Warren and other folks like Cory Booker. Right now, we have so much good news,
Yep.
and the Dems are fixated on finding bad news. They're like those old, strange men on the beach with metal detectors, you know, that always are walking too close to you.
Something.
Yeah, hoping to find something, except they're misery detectors, and they can't find any misery, so they have to invent misery. In this case, Liz Warren wants to raise tax rates to 50% for some people, and roll back the tax cuts. She's essentially a success extinguisher. She's looking at the economy like it's a fire, and she wants to put it out. That's what she's doing. So here's what I worry about, is that they might achieve something. What I've noticed is that we might be entering the second part of a political cycle that's been going on since the 60s. The Republicans come in and they fix things. And then that allows the Democrats to come in and break things because there are things to be broken. And then you get the Republicans back in to fix things because the Democrats broke things and the Republicans fixed things. And then the public says, oh, now we can sustain more Democrats. So they come in to break things. And this goes back and forth. So Republicans fix, Democrats break. Republicans fix, Democrats break. This has been going on since the 1960s. So now Trump has fixed a half a dozen things. And everybody's going, hey, you know what? Let's give those Democrats another chance. Let them break some stuff.
Well, we can't let them break it. But, to Dana's point, too, you know, he is there because of vulnerable members of Congress, but he's also talking to, I think, key constituencies right now, talking to steel workers and farmers, because there are people that have felt the effect of this, you know, trade tariffs that are going back and forth. And so I think his message to them, both with the farmers and the steelworkers, is I'm with you. I was with you because you were the forgotten men and women who President Obama left behind. And I'm standing with you now and I'm fighting for you. And so I think it's a really critical time for him to be sending that message and also to be touting the fact that we have seen hundreds of thousands of manufacturing jobs added under President Trump. The economy is good. As Jesse pointed out, GDP growth tomorrow.
Right. One quick question.
Okay.
The deficit, because he's offering $12 billion in subsidies to the farmers, and even the farmers are like, boy, you know, with the tax cut that didn't pan out and now this, that blows up the deficit. It used to be a Republican thing. No,
it used to be it wasn't a Democrat thing.
No, I said Republican.
I know, but I mean, Democrats didn't care about deficits. You guys invented them.
No one does.
I'm not down with the bailout, but I think President Trump can say that I'm fighting for you. And yesterday's press conference also came at a critical time for him to be able to say that, look, this is having some movement and effect.
All right.